new powers of Boruto are on their way, and it's almost confirmed. With the recent cliffhanger showing us Boruto falling down to Jura's attack, this may be the right time for someone to appear who could show us the different variations of jutsus and special techniques. I'm talking about Momoshiki and how his comeback could lead to Boruto unlocking a number of new abilities. This includes the RASENKEN, a rasengan powered sword, or even the red lightning, which could be his coolest power. But how in the world can Momoshiki make him unlock such techniques? Well, that's what we are about to find today. As much as the mystery of Momoshiki's disappearance is popular, there is a lot more in store that no one is talking about. Once the monster returns, Boruto's life could change dramatically since his vessel has grown a lot stronger, making it easier for him to bring havoc and destruction. All of this was so messed that even Boruto got frightened on his karma activation. Well, this fear was basically built from his knowledge of how dangerous the Momoshiki situation can be. But I don't want this to overshadow every mind-blowing thing that the monster could do to his vessel, especially now that Boruto has unlocked the limitless Rasengan, the Uzuhiko. Momoshiki's awakening would mean that Uzuhiko will fall into the wrong hands, and it could take him way less time to charge for it, simply because he will use it by his own experience. But there is something more than using the most destructive power that only Momoshiki can do. Remember how he quickly understood the mechanism of Rasengan back in the day, and then created a bullet version out of it, known as the Rasengan. Well, he could literally do this to any power of Boruto that he has analyzed well enough, meaning that we could soon see Momoshiki modifying the existing powers of his vessel to come up with new techniques. This includes a sword version of the Rasengan that would sound something like Rasenken, but would it actually be possible to change the structure of the spiraling energy without compromising its integrity? Well, we have seen Rasen Shuriken in Naruto, but it was just a bigger sphere of spiraling energy. It did not drastically alter the shape of the Rasengan, leaving the question unanswered. While we can have faith in Momoshiki's art of playing with chakra-based powers, there should be a proper explanation behind whether it's plausible or not. The Uzuhiko somehow confirms that Rasengan spiral energy can be molded into a larger variant, but even this new technique doesn't fundamentally change the structure of this power. It's still a spiraling energy, but on a really greater scale. Well, the answer to whether Momoshiki can take a Rasengan or any power to create brand new abilities lies within the tendency of manipulating the chakra of the said ability. Let's compare chakra to plasma, a real-world component, to understand this better. It's a state of matter similar to gas, but with charged particles, and can be confined as well as shaped using magnetic fields. Correspondingly, if we consider chakra as a form of energy similar to plasma, changing its shape while maintaining integrity would require precise control mechanisms similar to magnetic confinement. So if Momoshiki's chakra control is really advanced, he could theoretically manipulate the shape of the Rasengan by altering the flow and rotation patterns. This seems highly plausible, not just because he was able to create Rasengan, but also due to the fact that he's a lot more stronger than he has ever been, thanks to the hard training of his vessel. So what would be the need behind Momoshiki having to create variations of Boruto's powers? Well, first and foremost, it has got nothing to do with Kinshiki, as many people believe Boruto's karma could have the Kenjutsu experience of Momoshiki's partner, but that would be far-fetched, cause the monster's soul had returned as himself to give Boruto the karma, meaning that there shouldn't be any traces of Kinshiki in the DNA of Boruto. In other words, the protagonist has the karma of base Momoshiki rather than fused Momoshiki, so anything related to Kinshiki will not reflect in Boruto's techniques. This simply means Boruto has mastered sword fighting all by himself, and just because it's one of the skills that he's too good at, Momoshiki could use this to his leverage by creating the Rasenken just to have a unique advantage against his opponents. Moreover, if he pulls out such variations during his fights, they won't take much of the screen time in the story. It would most likely be a few pages worth of fight scenes showcasing him using such techniques. He won't entirely lead the battle with the Rasenken or any such variation power, as there are more ways for him to win the fight swiftly, like the Uzuhiko or the giant Rasengan. So now that we are done with how Momoshiki is about to manipulate the powers of Boruto, we can't deny the fact that he must have some more cards under his sleeves, meaning that he knows a lot more abilities that would be revealed to us later in the story. The first original jutsu that I believe Boruto should be given is the red lightning. We have seen him using the purple lightning against Mitsuki in chapter 6, but considering the amount of potential he has, he should be able to develop this technique to one step further, and he could do that by evolving it into the red lightning. Kakashi invented purple lightning from Chidori, where he reduced the intensity of lightning while increasing its chakra consumption, making it less damaging but more versatile for a person without Sharingan. Boruto on the other hand should do reverse process, where he increases the intensity of lightning, which would take the color of the lightning to the opposite end of the spectrum, which is red. The jutsu would be faster in speed while consuming less chakra, which means he could take it to the next level by increasing the amounts of chakra to fuel it. It would be an original jutsu with logic involved, giving him an original lightning power that he develops at his own. Talking about the time he used the purple lightning, we could even see him make a hand sign which literally launched his sword into the air. This could be a small detail hinting at his telekinesis power, or maybe he has found a way to iterate the flying thunder god into moving other objects. The official Naruto website also hints at this being a possibility by stating that Boruto's version of the flying Raijin is different than his grandfather. Further, if he ever decides to use the Kama, there are some huge possibilities which would unlock for him. With the infusion of shinobi experience with the Otsutsuki powers, he will likely develop entirely new and novel techniques that we simply haven't seen before. For example, absorbing chakra with one shadow clone and resending that technique back with another shadow clone. The Kama's signature role is to absorb and amplify chakra. Something similar was done by Momoshiki with his hand Renengans. One would absorb and the other would amplify. So Boruto using his shadow clones to absorb attacks and then amplify them himself using his Kama seal is a plausible possibility and would even pay respect to his shinobi roots. Now you could argue that in his fight against Code, his shadow clones lack the Kama seal, so this theory doesn't make that much sense. Well, I would say it made sense for the shadow clones to not have Kama at this time, as Boruto wasn't a full Otsutsuki back then. Right now his clones would also inherit his body structure, meaning that all of them would have this Kama scar on their chest. This further enhances the possibility for the clones to have separate Kama seals, which means we could soon see him integrate them with his Otsutsuki abilities. So what if he starts teleporting attacks between different shadow clones? Think of it this way. One shadow clone would absorb the opponent's attack with the Kama, and the other clone could just appear behind the opponent to teleport that attack with his own Kama. This would act like a level up of the shadow clone's Kama amplification power that I discussed earlier. Boruto's eventual use of Kama powers could let him have the leverage of more abilities of Momoshiki, only if it's actually Momoshiki living inside of him. You can check out this video later to find the other possibility. Boruto could unlock the summoning of elemental creatures such as the Golem and the Phoenix, but the power of Momoshiki that would grant him a unique edge against his opponents is the time stoppage ability, which pauses the flow of time to everyone. But here is the problem. We don't know whether this power was only liable to Boruto or if it's an ability of the monster whose signature is registered within the Kama. The fact that we can see the whole world stopping when Momoshiki appears hints at this being a broken power that Boruto might someday unlock to gain an advantage over his opponents. But if it's something that only the Otsutsuki was able to make Boruto witness through his gun signs, then it might not be an ability, rather an experience that only shows up after Momoshiki's emergence. But we have seen him voluntarily stop time to have a conversation with Boruto without the intention of taking him over, like when he revived him in chapter 67. Let me know in the comments if you think the time stoppage is an ability or signature experience. Now let's have a talk about the Jogan and its possible powers. Kawaki's Dojutsu, which is the rival eye of the Jogan, has been named the Kurogan, translating to the black eye. This eye is straight up opposite of the pure eye, meaning that they could have some contrasting abilities. We know the powers of Kawaki's eye are all combat based, like the chakra rods, shrinking, summoning, etc. The Jogan on the other hand could have more indirect and abstract applications. For example, the power to see the fate of other people, or a more advanced foresight where he may have the liberty to change what's about to happen. Or let's say he could see some possible gaps in the future, allowing him to turn the bad into better. The Jogan could provide him some god level insights on the fated future that would help him in dispelling the mega darkness as prophesied by Toneri. The power of clairvoyance is also something that I believe the Jogan should let Boruto have. A shinjutsu that only gods and Aida have unlocked could be one of the main highlights of the pure eye. I don't think it would have much direct combat abilities, but looking at how confidently Boruto unlocks it against Kawaki, there might be a chance for him to utilize it in enhancing his other abilities. For example, Kawaki is an Otsutsuki, so the ordinary Byakugan might not be able to locate his weak chakra points. This is where the Jogan could let Boruto dissect the vulnerabilities of his opponents in order to have a supreme advantage in every fight. You can find out more about Boruto's Jogan in the right video, or if you are interested in knowing the truth about Shibai, check out the video on the left. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stuff, and I will see you next time.